Hi. You ever get that feeling at a party? The kind that crawls up the back of your neck and whispers that something's off? That was me, standing in the middle of our company's annual gala, champagne glass in hand, tuxedo too tight at the collar, wondering why my wife couldn't stop glancing at her phone. The room was glowing, music soft, everyone dressed to the nines. Our firm had just hit a record quarter, and we were celebrating in the rooftop ballroom of a downtown hotel. One of those places with too much marble and a skyline view that made you feel like the world was briefly within reach. I should have been proud. Instead, I felt hollow. Mara was dazzling, as always. Silver dress, hair pinned with pearl clips, that red lipstick I once picked out for her back when we were still choosing things together. She floated around the room with practiced charm, laughing with my boss, clinking glasses with our department head, asking questions she didn't care to hear answers to. And every 10 minutes or so, she slipped her hand into her clutch, glanced at her phone, smiled, soft and secret, and tucked it away like it never happened. She wasn't like that before. I met her when I was nothing, just a junior associate with a beat-up Camry and a studio apartment that echoed when I sneezed. She worked at the coffee shop below my office, knew my order by day 3, my bad moods by week 2. I fell for her honesty, the way she said what she meant without dressing it up. I asked her out on a Friday. She said yes with a laugh, told me she hoped I wasn't boring. Now we lived in a townhouse with too many staircases, and her laugh felt curated. Like everything else. When my promotion came, she said we should celebrate. When the bonus hit, she picked the watch I still wear. She said we were a team, and I believed her. I wanted to. So I worked. Long hours. Weekends. I kept the engine running while she went back to school, started her own small events business. I thought we were building something together. But tonight, watching her drift through my world like it bored her, something in my chest started to cave in. It happened halfway through the speeches. I was seated at our table, me, Mara, and a few colleagues. I turned to say something to her, something stupid about how the CEO always mispronounced initiative, but her chair was empty. Purse gone. Not in the restroom. Not at the bar. I scanned the room. Nothing. My hand was already halfway to my phone when I caught sight of her. She was heading down the side stairwell, bare shoulders brushing against the steel railing, her dress catching the moonlight from the glass panels. She moved like she didn't want to be seen. I followed. Quiet steps, heartbeat rising. I told myself maybe she just needed air. Maybe she was taking a call. Maybe I was being paranoid. That word, paranoid, had been tossed at me more times than I cared to count this past year. She'd say it with a smirk, like she knew a joke I didn't. You overthink everything, babe. It's exhausting. I reached the bottom of the stairs. The hallway led to the side exit, one used mostly by staff or for valet runners. I paused just before the door and peered out through the tinted glass. That's when I saw her. She was standing by a black sedan. Not our car. Not a cab. Just waiting. She glanced around, checking the alley like a kid sneaking out of school. The car headlights flicked on, washing over her. She walked to the passenger's side, pulled open the door, and leaned in. I couldn't see who was inside. Not at first. Just a silhouette in the driver's seat. She laughed, tilted her head back the way she used to with me, and leaned forward. That laugh used to be mine. I stepped out slowly. The cold slapped my face. August wind sharp at the edge of fall. My shoes echoed on the pavement. The headlights hit me full on as I approached, like a spotlight. And that's when I saw his face. Of all the people it could have been, he was the last name I would have guessed. Not some stranger. Not some slick gym rat charmer. No, it was someone from my side of the line. Someone I had brought into our circle. A guy I used to mentor. Someone who sat in my office just 2 months ago asking about career advice. His eyes met mine through the windshield. His smile faltered. She hadn't noticed me yet. Her body was still half in the car, hand on his shoulder. I watched it like a scene from someone else's life. Her red lips whispered something close to his ear. He flinched, subtly. I kept walking. For more steps, and I was close enough to see the panic in his face. 2 more, and she turned, slowly, like something in the air had shifted. Our eyes locked. And that's when the truth, the whole rot of it, spilled out from the light of those headlights. She froze. Mouth parted, like she had no script for this scene. But I didn't give her time to write one. She stepped back from the car like the pavement had turned to ice beneath her heels. James, she started. I raised my hand. Not in anger. Just to stop her from saying something I couldn't unhear. We stood there in the alley, framed by those stupid headlights. The hum of the engine was the only sound, until he killed it with a quick twist of the key, like that might somehow erase what I'd just seen. He stepped out next, hesitant, like a kid caught stealing from his dad's wallet. He didn't even try to act like it wasn't what it was. "James, man, listen," he began, his voice cracking under the weight of the situation. I looked at him, really looked at him. He was wearing the cufflinks I gave him last Christmas, the ones I had engraved with a quote from one of his favorite books. I couldn't remember the quote now. My brain was buzzing like it had been hit with a low-voltage current. Mara moved toward me, slow, deliberate. "This isn't what it looks like," she said. The classic line. The one I'd always told myself I'd never fall for if it was ever said to me. Only now that it was happening, I wasn't angry. Not yet. Just hollow. Like I'd opened a box and found it empty after years of believing it held something precious. "Then tell me," I said, quiet. "Tell me what it is." She blinked. Her mouth opened, closed, then opened again. I needed someone to talk to. "It's not to talk to." I glanced at him. "He's a junior associate, Mara. He's a kid." He winced. She bristled. "Don't patronize me," she snapped. "This isn't about age." "No," I said, more to myself than anyone else. "It's about betrayal." A silence fell between us, the kind that feels permanent. I turned to him. "You sat in my office 2 months ago, said I was your role model, said you wanted to follow in my footsteps." He swallowed hard. "I didn't mean for this to happen. She was my wife." "I know." "Then you meant it." He didn't answer. And maybe that was the worst part, because in that pause, I realized he had meant it. Every step, every message, every drink after work when I had to stay late, every small moment where he became a part of our story. He looked down. Mara, though, found her spine. "You were never home," she said. "Always working, always distracted. You stopped seeing me." I flinched. That landed harder than I expected, because there was truth in it, and the truth has a way of cutting deeper than lies. "I worked to give us this life," I said. "The house, the vacations, your business. All of it came from the hours I spent trying to build something for us." "I never asked for this," she snapped. "I just wanted you. And you were always somewhere else." I nodded, slowly. "And so you found someone else to be with you." She hesitated, then nodded too. "I didn't plan it. But yes." There it was. No more pretending. No half-truths. Just the cold, clean edge of admission. The air felt thinner suddenly, like I couldn't get enough of it into my lungs. I stepped back, looked at the two of them, standing there, bathed in artificial light and uncomfortable honesty. "I should be furious," I said. Neither of them moved. "But I'm not," I continued. "I'm just done." Mara looked like she wanted to say something, maybe even stop me. But whatever she saw in my face made her pause. I turned and walked away, past the valet stand, back into the hotel. Inside, the party still roared on like nothing had happened. People laughed. A saxophone played over the sound system. Glasses clinked. I slipped into the hallway by the ballroom and sat on a bench beneath a sconce. My hands were shaking, but not from rage. From release. Like something I'd been holding onto too tightly had finally snapped. She cheated. That was the headline. But beneath it, there was 100 subtexts. Regret. Distance. Miscommunication. My own blindness. My pride. Maybe I should have noticed. The way she stopped asking about my day. The way she stopped waiting up. The way she started dressing nicer even when she wasn't going anywhere. The signs were there. I just kept looking past them, believing the marriage would steady itself the way it always had before. That love would carry us through. But love doesn't carry you when no one's steering anymore. I pulled out my phone, scrolled to our wedding photo, the one where she had her forehead against mine, smiling like she had the secret to forever. I stared at it for a long time. Then I deleted it. Not out of anger. Out of clarity. I wasn't going to confront her again. I wasn't going to demand apologies or explanations. I didn't want to hear what she thought we could salvage. This wasn't a fire I needed to put out. It was one I had to walk away from. The next morning, I packed a bag before the sun came up. There wasn't much to take. A few changes of clothes, my watch, some paperwork, and the photo from my desk drawer, the only one she wasn't in. Just me and my dad, years ago, arms around each other after I got my first job out of college. I figured it was time to remember who I was before we became everything. Mara hadn't come home. Or if she had, she'd been quiet enough that I didn't hear. Her perfume wasn't lingering in the hall. Her keys weren't on the counter. The bed was still made on her side. Neat. Undisturbed. I left a note. Just a short one. You don't owe me anything. I just hope you find what you were missing. I'll be gone by the time you read this. Take care of yourself. No signature. No bitterness. Just the facts. I didn't slam the door. I didn't take the car we shared. I ordered a rideshare, gave the driver the address of my brother's cabin out near the mountains, and leaned my head against the window the whole ride there. I didn't cry. Not then. But 2 days later, when I sat on the porch with a cup of coffee and the wind started blowing through the pine trees just right, I broke. Not loudly. Not with drama. Just a few quiet sobs that felt like they'd been sitting in my chest for a year, waiting for permission to leave. You'd think the worst part of being betrayed is the lie itself. It's not. It's the realization that the life you were living wasn't the same one they were. That you were loving from one side, trusting from one side, carrying something that wasn't being carried back. That kind of truth rewires you. For weeks, I didn't answer texts. Let calls go to voicemail. I needed the silence. I needed space from people who would try to patch me up too quickly. Friends meant well, but they always wanted to put things into boxes. You'll bounce back. She didn't deserve you. At least you found out now. But what do you say to someone whose whole compass just got reset? I didn't want revenge. I didn't want to ruin her name, or call her family, or torture business to the ground. That's not who I am. Maybe that's weakness. Maybe it's strength. I don't know anymore. I just wanted peace. Real peace. Not the kind you pretend to feel when everyone's watching. One night, about a month after the party, I got a message. It was from her. Just a single line. Do you ever think about what we had? I stared at it for a long time. And for the first time since that night, I didn't feel anything. No ache. No anger. Just a memory flickering in the back of my mind. Her in that silver dress, backlit by headlights, laughing at someone else's jokes, not knowing I was watching. I didn't reply, because the truth was, I had thought about what we had, every day for years. But the more I sat with it, the more I realized, we didn't lose something perfect. We lost something that had already been slipping through our fingers, long before that night. She slipped away at that party. But the marriage? That had been slipping long before. And me? I was just finally ready to stop chasing the pieces. I still wear that same watch she gave me, funny enough. Not because I want to remember her, but because it reminds me of time, how fast it moves, how easily we let it slip, how much it costs when we don't pay attention. Some nights I walk alone. No music, no distractions, just my feet on pavement and a sky full of stars. And in those moments, I don't feel broken. I feel whole. Not because I won. Not because I got closure. But because I chose not to stay angry. I chose to live. And that, I think, is the real ending. Not the headlights. Not the car. But the man who walked away from them and never looked back. Bye-bye.